Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the InArt, or Queen Studios InArt, Dark Knight's Metal Batman the Red Death. A lot of different things going on here. It is InArt Action now, not InArt 112. That's an unfortunate situation, but I do have some good news. I can't reveal all of the details because I don't know what is confirmed or for sure or not yet, but based on the things I've seen and the things I've talked about with my contact with the company, they will be addressing the scale going forward. So we should be seeing, I can't say which things are going to be what scale at what time that aren't released yet, of course, they're not even like up for order yet, but we will be seeing a return to 112 scale. So that's a good thing for those of you who like the 112 scale, and it's probably a bad thing for those of you that like these oversized 7-inch or 1/10 scale figures. So do with that information what you will, but this is the review sample they sent for Red Death Batman, and it is a pretty darn good looking figure. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. Alright, before we look at the figure, let me go ahead and show you my package. It's a good one. There's no window, but it is a good looking package. You have the figure in the flash pose that I'm running, but actually kind of flying on my feet sort of situation, where he's very far leaning forward, but cool looking photo there. Not much there, not much there. Not much anywhere, but it's nice if you're displaying things in such a way. It's good packaging. All right, let's set that aside. We don't need that anymore. I will have a link in the description below. It'll take you to their website. I'm pretty sure there's a discount code incorporated in that link. You'll see. It'll be in the description below. All right, let's do a quick question of the day as we're getting the height measurements in. He stands, by the way, 17.5 centimeters, not counting his little silver ear tip thingies. That's going to be about 7 inches. So yeah, 7 inches. But the question of the day, first question is, do you prefer the 7-inch or the 6-inch size? Now, I know most things aren't true 112 scale 6-inch figures these days, but you can go by true 112 scale, or you can go by whatever is the oversized 112 scale. And then the other question of the day is, are you a fan of the Dark Knight's metal stuff? I know it's a way for them to get a whole lot more Batman out of the DC universe, but I don't know how popular the metal thing is with all these different variations of Batman and the weird combos and things. I think it's fine. I'm relatively indifferent. I'm ambivalent. I think the designs are cool, so what the heck. It sure was good, a good thing for Todd. Anyway, this figure, as far as I can tell, I'm not like the biggest expert on the Dark Knight's metal designs, but as far as I can tell, this figure is based on one of his looks, but not exactly. It seems like InArt has done a little bit of their own flourish here with the styling, and I think it looks pretty darn cool. If I'm wrong, if this is exactly what he looks like somewhere else, then that's fine. If not, then it is a unique design. But it is pretty well done. The design language is consistent throughout, and it looks really good, and it does look mostly like the things I'm familiar with, so I'm thinking it is their own take. But yeah, it looks super cool. So I guess you could do another question of the day. Are you in for unique designs? I usually am. Like you guys know with my Transformers and things, I love the unique designs. And this one I think is pretty freaking cool, so I'm okay with it here too. But let's go ahead and get into the aesthetic portion of this review. He looks gorgeous. The sculpt is so detailed, and there's a lot of paint throughout. It's just really nicely done. You can see on the head even, there's different finishing going on for the eyes, for the dark red, for the light red. There's a wash going on. The silver is nicely done. It's just everything you want to see in an action figure, and they do get these guys in at a good price point. It's usually like between $70 and $100 for these figures from them directly. Of course, different prices will appear at different websites, however much they have to charge or whatever, I don't know. Like if you look at Big Bad Toy Store, they're pretty expensive, but then if you look at other places, they're still kind of expensive, but not as much, so you have to figure out where you can get them from if you can't get them from InArt directly. But yeah, the detail work is just absolutely nuts for this scale, even at the 7-inch scale. Like, even if they get all their figures down to be 112 scale, I'm pretty sure they'll still be able to do it, because like, there's still lots of tiny details here that would be fine to do at the other scale. So it's just nuts what they have going on here, though. It looks great. Even on the back, like they didn't skimp on the back like most companies do. Loads of detail. Loads and loads and loads of detail. Paint, sculpt. It's nice and sharp. It is wonderful. As far as proportioning goes, it does look pretty good. It's a little bit stylized. Obviously, we have the really big chest and then the pretty skinny waist. It's leaning in towards the speedster sort of look. Thighs aren't as big as I would like, and lower legs are a little bit longer than they should be, so I'd like to see them kind of adjust that. I don't know if they're going to be adjusting anything, even though these are early samples. But you'll see later when we do the articulation, his lower legs are a bit long, and since he's a runner, it'd be nice to see bigger legs, but he's got the speed for, so I guess he doesn't have to have muscle at all. But yeah, it looks gorgeous, and the finish is really cool. It's like not super metallic, but it does have a little bit of a, I don't know if it's a metal flake in it or what, but it has a nice finish to it. I think it looks great, so I'm thrilled with this. It looks very, very nice. So I will go, I don't know, 9.9 out of 10. Well, no, I'll go 9.5 out of 10 because, yeah, the lower legs do throw it off a little bit. They are a bit long. Now, as far as accessories go, he kind of has a more simple assortment than some of the things we've seen from InArt, but there's a lot of stuff here still in terms of plastic mass. The first thing I'll talk about is the thing you can clip onto his back. It just pegs right in to what looks kind of like the back part of a jet engine or something. I mean, not literally, but kind of. But yeah, it looks nice. It has nice paintwork on it. Looks good. Good sculpt, good paint. Adds a nice effect to the figure. So you get that. You do also get, in the same vein, an alternate arm, which is basically the same sort of paint job. It looks really cool. I love the big swoosh effect. I love that he's got the transparent arm to make it look like he's going super fast. I do think for sure, and this is something they can definitely change, I would recommend it. Of course, who knows if they care what I say or not, but I would definitely 100% recommend some paint on the arm part. Transparent's cool, I like that, but there needs to be at least a transition. So you pop this arm off, pop this on, there needs to be at least some paint at the top here. If I can even get it on. I had it on a minute ago. Doing everything on camera makes it harder. You need to have a transition, I think. You should throw some paint on here to make it look like it's fading to transparent. But boy, do I love that effect. It's super cool, and even if they don't do it like I think they should, for sure, 100%, it would look way better. But even if they don't, you can still pose it around so that it looks cool. But I love this effect, so that's a cool addition. You get a decent spread of hands, nothing crazy, but probably everything you're gonna need. And then lastly, you get a display stand, which is pretty cool. I love two things about this. One, it's big, so it's going to be dramatic and interesting. I love that they have the little bats on there. That's cool. It also has the upright, so you can pose him doing different things. I don't know how great that is to have both of those on the same thing. But the thing I love is that even this part that sits on the ground, they still use clear acrylic. I hate it when something's all black or all white or whatever, because that's only going to work for certain people's display shelves. Like, I have white cabinets, if there's a black base, it looks ugly. Or vice versa for other people. Clear always fits in well enough. So I think that's a nice touch. Maybe if this was removable, that'd be fine, so that you have just the clear upright or this, but still, it's a really cool display stand, and I'm happy they included it. Okay, so accessory-wise, I will go, without paint on the arm, I'll go 9 out of 10. And that's probably not even being as generous as I should, because it's still a good spread. But if they put some paint on that arm for the final release on that alternate arm, then I will give it a higher rating. So there's that. Okay, so let's talk about the articulation, because that's something that InArt has done pretty well with, but they've struggled with some shoulders and some hips and some knees and things throughout some of the releases, and I want to see how they're doing. And I'm happy to tell you, because I've already looked at it. It's pretty darn good. They're definitely going in the right direction for a lot of things. I'd love to see a company that nobody starts out perfect, of course, and you never get to perfection, but you have to keep trying, and they are definitely doing that. So we have ball pegs throughout the neck and head. Technically, the neck is on a ball peg. It has a lot more range going forward and back, though, which is more useful than side to side, of course, but there is a little bit of side to side on that neck, and of course it can rotate. And then ball pegs on the head, so you can get him looking up pretty high. That's nice. And then you can also get him looking down so far that his chin tucks into his collarbone. Leaning to the side happens at the top of the neck, but that's fine. That's the wonder of ball pegs. You can basically do whatever you want, and I love it. All right, these things are soft, which is great. They may warp. You know, in the package, you may get a little mush here or there, but you can just heat them up. But they don't break easily, and they don't stab you. I'm very happy about that. I've seen a lot of figures lately that are stabbing me, and I don't care for it. And also, if they can stab me, they can break, so that's good. Same thing for all of these. They're softer pieces, so that's nice. Now this, you might think it's like a Revoltech. As far as I can tell, though, it's not. It's just a floating piece. This whole section here just moves around with the shoulder. It doesn't do a ton, but it does give you a little bit of extra mobility, and it hides the joints very nicely. nicely. Shoulder pads have a little bit of wiggle on there. I haven't been able to do anything other than wiggle them though. I think like there's technically a hinge. You can see how it goes up and down, but just a touch. So when I first saw this, I was like, oh no, they're still struggling with shoulders. But the good news is you can still get the arm up to horizontal. And I'm guessing that's what they were going for, because you probably don't need to go more than horizontal. You're going to be rotating it this way, and it works fine for that. So, and it's a good looking shoulder. Bandai, stop putting giant gaps in everything, trying to be Revoltech. Even Revoltech people don't like the way the shoulders look. But yeah, it ends up working out nicely. I was very concerned about this. I thought it was going to be a Stone Monkey situation where the shoulder pads just don't look good and don't work that well, but it's fine. And then the extra wiggle around is nice too. So that's good. Now for the torso, we have floating pieces throughout. I'm not going to point out all the floating pieces. I'll just show you the range of motion. That's without using the hips. Let's get the arms up and out of the way. That's without using the hips. He leans back nicely. He leans forward even more nicely. Takes a little bit of force, or at least it did for mine, but maybe because he was still cold from being outside. But yeah, that's without using any hip range at all. So of course, if you use the hips, yeah, he can do the Spider-Man pose that everybody's been doing over the last year, which I don't know why they're doing it, but yeah, he has really good range in his torso, and it looks nice. They've done a good job of adding lots of floating parts and ball pegs to get all the range you need going forward and back, and then sideways, it's not as much, especially at the top. I was expecting a little bit more, but it's still, I mean, that's still pretty good, and you probably don't need to go that far to the side, but it does get a little bit more gappy and less effective going to the side, but it works nicely. And then of course you have your rotation at the bottom and at the top, so you should be good. The only thing you may struggle with is this floater right here. It tends to want to stick into the chest as you're moving it around, so you may have to do a little wiggling to get it to come back down to where you want it, but I haven't had any real trouble with it. It just kind of hit away one time and I was like, what the heck, and then it just popped right down, so it's fine. Now for the hips, we do have drop downs. They work nicely. I can't complain. Like, I don't like drop downs as a rule, but if they work fine, then I don't care that much. It's really all about how well the articulation works at the end of the day. It doesn't really matter how it's made as long as it works. And these are fine. I do think he has slightly birthing hips because of it, and when you drop him down, his legs are brought in more, which is probably better, but, you know, whatever. You're not going to notice that once he's posed, but they have a lot of drop, so they're going to have a lot of range. But let me show you how they work while they're still up. So first, well, while they're still up, you can't bring the legs out to the side at all. You have these spikes that get in the way, so forget that. You can't do that. You can bring them up pretty far forward without dropping the hips at all, but when you do drop them, you can pose the legs pretty darn well. They get up there. Of course, they're very low, but then you can also get the legs out to the side with the drop, which normally is not how drops work. You don't usually get extra range by doing a drop. This is only happening because of the design of his armor being in the way. The drop doesn't actually benefit that traditionally, but since his armor's in the way, it does, and they've accounted for it, and it works nicely. Now, the cool thing about these drops is they have a lot of play on the ball itself. Not the hinge that goes up and down, like obviously that's there, but there's a lot of movement on the ball that connects it, which does give you a little bit added versatility, and then you get the full hinge. This whole piece up here is the hinge that lets you do that. So you get really good range out of these legs. I don't think you'll have any trouble doing speedster poses with this guy. It's pretty good. You will have to deal with these sometimes, but you should be fine. And then you do get your thigh swivel, which is nicely hidden in the design, so that's good. Double jointed knee. They are improving a lot. This is a very nice knee. I'm going to show you, by the way, what this guy looks like up against the Batman, just for skill purposes at the end. And the reason I'm mentioning that now is Batman's knee was kind of funky. This knee is way nicer. I love the way this knee looks compared to a lot of knees. It's very nice. It is maybe in need of, like, it's hard. You can't paint this plastic really, but maybe you could throw some kind of ink on there or something to give it a wash. Something to make it look a little bit better, because it does just look like bare plastic for the knees. The elbows have the same situation. I'll get back to the elbows too. I guess I forgot to review those. I'm just excited because I reviewed so many bad figures yesterday that looking at a good one is nice. So the knees are good. We have an extra joint down here, which is all the rage these days. I'm not sold on them being necessary for people that aren't wearing baggy pants, but if you need it, you can bend his leg back some, which you probably won't do. but you might want to bend it forward to be a little bit more stylized in a running pose. You can do it. It doesn't feel like it's supposed to wiggle, and mine doesn't. Rotate. It just kind of wiggles a little bit, so it's really just the hinge as far as I can tell. But if you like that type of joint, you get it. And then for the ankle, it's just a ball hinge, which I'm also happy to see. So that ball hinges are kind of like the way to go for ankles if you're not going to do like a fixed hinge. Not the absolute most range on the ankle. It's enough, but not a ton. And this part here does get in the way of using the ankle rocker, but you can force it because it's not super hard plastic. You don't get a ton of range out of it, but again, enough. I would like to see more. And of course, if you heat it or force it, you can get more, so maybe they're just going to count on that. But since you want to put them in like the sliding to the side type of pose or running to the side, you're going to want to have some nice range in the ankle, some lateral movement. I think it's enough. I think you could do a little bit better, but at least it looks like everything looks really good here, so give them something for that. And then for the toe hinge, it's very nicely hidden. This is a soft piece that just flexes, and it's a decent toe hinge. It's not super stiff. I'd like to see it a little bit tighter, but it's fine, and it's well enough placed. It's a little far back, I guess, but it's not such that the figure's not going to fall over, so that's good, and it'll be fine. It's got enough surface area that you could pose them on this, so that's a fine toe hinge. Now let's go back and finish the arms because I got excited and stopped talking about the arms. You do have a bicep swivel here. I haven't had this arm fall off as a result of the interchangeability, but it does come off easily, so I'm a little bit concerned about that. We're just going PVC into PVC, which is fine, but it's a relatively soft plastic, so you may have some issues with it coming off. Like if you're not paying attention and you just crank on it, it'll come off, but it's not loose. So if it gets loose, I guess if you change them out a whole bunch, you may have a problem, but I haven't had any issues with it other than it is looser than a normal arm. It's basically like a Marvel Legends. You can just take it off when you pull on it. This side, I haven't had any issues at all, and it's not made to be interchangeable, so that makes sense. Now for the elbows, it's a double jointed elbow, kind of like the way they've been doing them. And it's got the same issue as the knee where it's bare plastic, but you get good range out of it, and good enough range. And it looks decent because it's hidden by the armor. So the elbow is good. And then the wrists are on ball hinges, which are fine, and interchanging the hands, not too hard and not too soft. So yeah, his articulation is solid. There's a few things here and there that could be nicer, like maybe this is going to be an issue. Maybe. What else was it? The hips work well. Toe hinge, yeah, it's pretty good. I'd like to see a little bit more range out of the ankle, but especially like the ankle rocker, and the toes could be a little tighter, but it's pretty darn good. There's not a whole lot that you're going to really need out of this guy. It's going to pose nicely. I had no issues at all handling it when I was messing around ahead of the review. So yeah, very good articulation. I'm going to go 9 out of 10. I'd like to see let's go 9.5. I'd like to see this be tightened up a little bit, and I know it's a tricky situation with an interchangeable part, but if you don't want the interchangeable part, the main arm needs to be sturdy, and I think it's just on the edge of sturdy enough to where it's going to be okay. And I'd like to see a little bit better out of the ankles, things like that, but really, really nice. Definitely a step in the right direction. The Arkham Origins Batman had a few really questionable joint designs, and this guy doesn't have that. This guy is just easy, fun to pose type of figure. So now it's time for the final verdict. I'm kind of upset because I don't really care personally at all about Red Death Batman. It's a cool look, but I don't have any attachment to it at all. But it might be my favorite figure from them so far. It's a really good release. There's nothing really to question about it. I guess you could say you don't like the design choices of the overall look of the figure, assuming I'm right about it being an original design. But other things are just little nagging issues that aren't even a real big deal. So yeah, I think this is probably their best release yet. Well, I don't know. Their Batman was pretty darn good. The Christian Bale Batman and Catwoman, those were awesome. I don't know. This is pretty darn good, though. I'm going to give it an overall rating of 9.7 out of 10. It is really good, especially for the price point. It's about as good as you could expect. It's nuts how good these figures are. People like to always tell me, nothing's perfect. I know that. That's why I do reviews. I'm not basing things on if they should be perfect. I'm not saying they should or even could be perfect, but I still have to point out issues, and everything's going to have issues as long as there's a budget involved, and that's why reviews are helpful. You can decide for yourself which things matter to you. I don't expect anything to be perfect, but we still have to point things out. But this figure's damn close. It's really, really nicely done. Great looking figure. So I'll end it there. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, but I'll stop. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos just about every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.